My next guest is Alexandra Conunova. Hi. It's so nice to see you. Sasha is a wonderful violinist, and we first met in Verbier,
Right. How
2013.
many years ago? Oh, don't
Yes.
tell me.
Yeah, we haven't seen each other in a while. How are you doing now these times?
Great, great. I mean, at the beginning it was quite um, destabilizing and weird, but with the time, I think the human nature is just made
Gets
this way
used to it. Yeah.
that we got used to it, and I think there are a lot of positive sides of the confinement, which we didn't think it would be possible before.
I hear so many negative news. It's quite overwhelming when it's just every day. And I exchanged some emails with some musicians who were telling me, it will be never the same, and maybe we will be never able to play concerts at all in the future.
I hope it will be never the same, never again the same. But from another point of view, I think the situation makes us all realize that how important the community is and how we need to be more careful with the people that surround us and what our priorities are and why we do music, why we practice each day, what is the meaning of our kind of passage in this
Yeah.
life and being here. I think this time is can be greatly used by each of us, if the person wants to reprioritize in a way things in life. For me, it's very benefic. I'm really happy, and of course, as you, I hear a lot of, I read and I hear a lot of articles by, of course, lots of our colleagues, and sometimes I'm really angry with the articles because some of them say, well, music, classical music, and music generally, arts, is a luxury, and people cannot live without water, light, a ceiling, a home, but people can kind of live without art, and I think this is a huge mistake. And I think this is, in especially in this situation, this is a super dangerous statement to do,
Yeah.
because a lot of my colleagues, including myself, I mean, everything is canceled, nothing is paid, and we find ourselves, and I think it's going to last until at least January 21,
Yeah.
maybe who knows, even longer.
Basically, Beethoven year is cancelled completely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but this is also a good example. Maybe Beethoven year in a real life, meaning what we know as a real life, is cancelled, but Beethoven will still be there. Was
Yes.
there before Corona, will be there after. So are we. We are there, and the music is there, and art is there, and it is extremely important to keep practicing. And I think people that work now on creative ideas and do not stop now, especially now, will come stronger afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah, I find it also somehow ironical that it had to be this Beethoven year. And I hope that this whole crisis will actually create such a revolution as Beethoven was for the music. And in a way, the Olympic Games were basically postponed. So I actually would hope that we just postpone the Beethoven year in a way. But
But
yeah,
no, we can imagine. You talk about Olympic Games, but imagine Beethoven year. Yes, we can postpone because we always can play Beethoven. But imagine the poor athletes
yeah.
that some of them will never. They worked all their life for these Olympic Games, and they will never again be able to participate.
I really like swimming.
Nice details I get to know about you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
well, full of surprises. Yeah, but I was following some swimmers, and the ones who thought that this will be their last Olympics, because they just wanted to retire. They were like, I'm not sure I can work through 1 year again to prepare myself for the Olympic Games. Simply, yeah.
Yeah, we have this great telling. I don't know exactly how it sounds in English, but in our family, it's a very important phrase. We say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans.
Yes.
And I remember planning ahead in January for the summer, because my summer had to be crazy, and it became crazy completely in a different style. Yeah. And it was just impossible to think even 2 months ago that we are gonna sit here and have a nice talk, chill with you, and catch up in this way. Because today I'd be in, I think, somewhere in Copenhagen, I think, and you would be somewhere playing other projects, you know?
I have another phrase, if we are throwing faces, is nothing is sure, only taxes and death. So when we played together, that was also 4 years ago. This our common friend organized this homage Menuhin festival. I hope I showed it, but I have to confess that it was such an inspiring thing for me to work with you. And I mean it. And you seemed so structured, so with such an amazing willpower, and you knew what you wanted, and then you just made it. You created what you wanted. And I'm really curious to hear for you, such a person, super busy, hardworking. How is a day now for you? Are you still very structured, or there are different phases, or how is practicing for you now?
Well, I'm redefining myself generally, not only as a musician and an artist, but also as a person. And in the beginning of the crisis, my sister was here. She was doing an internship for the United Nations, and she came home and she told me, you know, they closed the headquarters on Monday. And I said, oh. And from that moment on, we were living a very strange time. Everyone was on his or her gadgets, including my son, and we were completely lost. And as soon as we understood that we are going towards the lockdown, I did a schedule for myself and my son by hours, like breakfast, homework, violin, then games together, then lunch, then park, then, you know, I was living in anxiety, because they took away what I was telling you. They took away my life. They took away what was the purpose of my life: traveling, playing for people, meeting people, my social life. It was my life. I was a half-time mother and full-time artist, and yeah, it was very difficult. And like after a week of my super busy schedule and wanting to follow rules and recreate what they've taken away, I understood, no, I cannot go against the bigger power, bigger than me. So we stopped running after time. We lived a little more relaxed, and I was really happy, and I still am very happy, because my sister left almost a week ago now, and I have to say that if I were to repeat something from this confinement, it would be the relationship I built it with my sister, who is 9 years younger, and getting to know my son, and getting to know myself as a sister and as a mother and as a friend, and facing my own anxieties, my own doubts, my own thoughts. Who am I? Why am I doing this? Is it good or bad? What is good or bad? Where am I right now? Where would I like to be? Am I happy? Am I not happy? Am I a good person? I think it's a great time for reflection, and I'm really grateful for this time. It's very difficult to accept that we are out for a year, and it's very, sometimes you have these thoughts, I'm sure you too, when it hits you and you're like, oh wow, okay, so why am I practicing? We were practicing before with a certain aim. I have a concert, I have a masterclass, I have this. Now there is no real purpose. Now we need to make our own aims.
Well, I found it strange, but also exciting in a way, because you say the aims are the concert, and of course we want to share our music with other people, but music is that amazing and exciting that it's worth getting up every day and work on it.
Yes, I agree totally with you, but we cannot play heroes all the time.
Yeah.
Real life is real life. We need to pay bills. We need
Yes.
to be okay for the people that surround us. And if you're depressive and if you are down because you just worry about existential things, how will I pay my bills? How will
Yes.
I feed my child? How, all those things cannot be just, pushed away. They just come. And you need to deal with it. And I admit I have to meditate a lot. I surround myself with my friends. I'm not a very religious person, but
you're very spiritual, at least.
Yes,
that's how.
Yes, I am. So I try to accept the emotions that come to me, but not define myself with that emotion.
Yeah.
Just let it be and see what comes. We are living in very, very rough and tough times, and before where everybody was telling, oh, I would like to have a day off and be home and do nothing or have more time, and now 99% of my friends are like, they don't know what to do with their time.
Yes.
It's very difficult because you are facing yourself, and that's the question: how much do you love yourself, and do you love yourself at all?
Yes. I had to realize, and I'm sure you had also moments like this, when our schedule is filled and there are travel and practice and concert and and you go to the next concert and next concert, other program, other people, blah, blah, blah. You don't even have the time to think about actually how am I doing and dealing with emotions. And I'm also quite a workaholic. And it's actually on a long term is not very healthy, but no, we don't have that. So suddenly all those feelings and thoughts are right with us.
Exactly. I think the world that we were living in socially wasn't healthy. Each time you had some troubles or something going on in your head which you didn't like, what did you do? You had a concert. You had to travel. You had to practice. In a way, you closed the door.
Yes, suppressed.
Yeah, exactly. And now you are facing all those questions that you didn't want to ask yourself before. I think it's a very, very good thing for the humanity to start sharing, to start caring, and I love it the way how, for example, my neighborhood managed the whole 2.5 months. Not that I was playing the concerts because I missed somehow stage, not at all. It's because for them and for myself, it was a relief to have this moment of community, of gathering, of feeling that there is a connection, that we are not alone, that we are there for each other. In front of my door, they were ringing the bell, and I was opening, and there was nobody, but there was a big cake, or there were flowers, or there was, and that sense of community, it's something that I always dream about.
Concerts are such special occasions, and of course you give a lot of energy, but you always receive a lot of energy as well, and that's...
Yes, I partly agree. Because of course we give energy, and yes, we do receive energy, but how beautiful is it when I do my concerts on the balcony, and I will continue doing it because I don't see why not. And my neighbors are super, super cool, and they said, yes. But how cool is it? I know every one of my public by name.
Yeah.
And we speak, and I know what they do, how many kids they have or they don't have, where they're from, what they like, etc., And this we never get in our normal life. We are kind of divas. We go on stage, we play, we get our applause, we get our payment at some point,
Hopefully, yes.
But we never really get in touch with our public like humanly, you know, like heart to heart. And I really enjoy this moment now. Really.
Of course, I wanted to ask you about your balcony concerts, but then I'm so happy you just started talking about it, because it really makes a huge difference for me. I find it very difficult to listen, even if it's my friends and colleagues or my own father. I find it very difficult to listen to these live streams. And I think it's because I feel that the energy is somehow not coming to me, and they play for a camera and it's just super weird and there is no applause. But with you, I can really see that you play for your neighbors, and you know, it's just like in a movie that maybe a camera angle, you let us also in to participate, but it's not mainly for the big whole world, it is for your neighbors. And one can see and feel this difference so much.
You know, on the first evening when I played, I remember I played Thais meditation, and I just played one piece because it was kind of an experimental thing. My neighbor from downstairs, she told me, why don't you play after the applause for the medical stuff?
Yeah.
I said, well, let's try. It was in March, and this was, if one was to ask me in the future, what was your most special concert in your life, I would say this one. Because when I finished, there was a silence for about some seconds, maybe 10. And I had the feeling to be able to hear a common prayer, you know, like all this energy, mine, theirs, music, God, skies, whatever you believe in, everything was together. And we were like, I had the feeling that everybody was asking for the same thing, you know. And even now when I talk about it, I have goosebumps. It's just another quality of music making. It's just not that you go on stage and it's a normal day. It is a normal concert. Even I always, you know me, I always go on stage like for the biggest fiesta of my life. but there I knew that I really touch souls and hearts. Yeah. And I think never again concerts in this way will never be the same again, at least for myself.
I wanted to ask you also, and you say no if that's too personal, or you want to just cut it out?
No, I didn't practice scales. I didn't.
I'm not interested in your skills. No, I wanted to ask also about your family life and being a mother. Somehow still feel that the violin community is in so many things ahead of us cellists. And I wanted to ask about your experience. Has ever the fact that you are a mother prevented or marked or stamped you in any way? Because I personally had so many times the encounter hints or sometimes just telling straight to my face, if I wear a ring, then I'm married or not. If I will have a child, then I can count on that my career will be completely over. And just things like generally the cello is a manly instrument and men can play this instrument so much better. And I was wondering if you had ever something like this.
I was totally crazy about two things in my life earlier on. When I left Moldova, I admit it completely sincerely, I never thought about a solo career. It was kind of, you know, in my head, yeah, maybe one day if, you know, if it happens. But what was for sure that I wanted to have a family as soon as possible, because in our country it's like 18 you need to be married, and if by 20 you don't have 2 kids, you're a loser. Yeah. So I remember talking to a very good friend, common friend. We will not talk names, but after the recording part, my son was already there, and I just quit the Orchestre de Chambre de Lausanne, in which I was leader seconds for some months. And I was extremely depressed. It was in August, and I called him and I said, listen, let's go for a talk, because I don't know what to do with my life, and I don't have enough concerts, and I don't know what to do. And I will never forget his phrase. He told me, well, you know, Alex, normal people, they first do career, then marry, and then have kids. What did you do? You had a kid, you're married, and now you try to do career. it's fucked up. You know. So it was a very important talk for me, because it's someone who I still very much like, who is a very dear person. And
yes, but life is not always like this straight way.
Yeah,
Actually,
yes.
it never is.
I think we are far ahead the stereotypes that we had even what 50-60 years ago, that a woman has to have kids and needs to stay home, and the man. I'm not for the equality of sexes. Absolutely not. I don't think it's very healthy, because of many reasons. We will not talk about this, but I am sure, and I still want to have 2 more kids. Absolutely. I'm absolutely convinced that you can do both, and that kids need to be independent as soon as possible. They don't have to cling on the mother, and mother don't have to be super overprotective. For a period of time, you need to have this parent-kid connection, but at some point, you also need to be a friend to your kid, because it's important that he trusts you as much as to tell you maybe not everything, but 99%, so you can help him in critical situations, you know. And also, for a kid, it's super important to see that without hard work, you don't get nothing in life. And this is what my son kind of lives with me, sees with me, and also in this quarantine, in the confinement, he sees that I'm working all the time. And I speak to him openly, you know, mommy will not earn this year as much as, you know, and we live in Switzerland, and even I have some savings. It will be done by like in some months, and need to find new ways to earn. We discuss a lot of things, and we are not friends, because this wouldn't be healthy, but I let him in my life, and I let him also know why I separated, why we are still super good friends with his father. I think it's important to explain and to show as much as you can a good example, because you can never be a perfect mother, you know. Never. I was super afraid when the confinement started that we will spend so much time together. I was super afraid. And we had horrible, terrifying fights during this time. I was like, there were days when I only cried, you know, of course. But it's so beautiful, so beautiful.
Yeah, but you need the fights. I mean, it's also an exchange. I really think also our musician community, like now I talk to my colleagues, and, you know, some are my closer friends, some are not so close, but still all colleagues who I really appreciate and respect in so many ways. And I can feel this hunger for exchange and inspiration and thoughts. And that's what helps for everyone to keep moving and keep working, and I think it's so important. I also wanted to ask you about your project, which you have at your hometown. Is it Artavi?
Artavi.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it all started in my head very many years ago, because I am a very conservative person, and I like to create a cocoon, like concerning my friends, my family, my home. I like to think of a private community where there is a trust circle, and not everybody is let in, and blah blah blah. So I wanted to give that cocoon, which actually made me, like Moldova and schools, something back when I would be able. Moldova is so poor and is so in such a bad political situation right now that we couldn't count on anyone. So we did it from personal resources.
Yeah.
We took, in the first year, we took 3 kids, 3 girls that were our first angels, and it went just incredibly well. My mother is taking care of everything. She is also a pianist and a musicologist. We never did a huge publicity about it, because I always from the beginning said good things needs to be done quietly. You don't need to brag about it. I don't like it. I don't like publicity, this ego kind of, you know, I did a good thing, please give me applause right now. We continue. We took 5 new kids. So they play in the concerts, and in the end of the year, we pay them a scholarship so they can, you know, it's not huge, of course, but they meet the real life. They see something else, because for the most of them, the parents are abroad working hard, you know, and they are alone. So they got a family, we got new kids, and the other people are getting music, so everyone benefits.
When we leave our home country, of course, we want to give something back.
I always think back, I don't know how it is for you, and I'm super grateful to Germany and to Switzerland to, you know, to be able to live here and to make a nice life here, but I really miss my country, I miss my culture, I miss my family who are, of course, living there, and I often ask myself, what would it be like, how it would be if I could stay, you know?
Yeah.
And we are the first generation to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm always a little jealous of my colleagues whose parents live, like, you know, they study in Berlin and the parents live in Munich, or, you know, that they are super easy connections and everything. It's it's something that that we don't have, and maybe one day, we don't know. So that's why also I created this foundation, because I wanted to have something home, a part of me that is really there.
Yeah, I remember my father wanted back then that I maybe also audition to schools in the US. And I just said no. I mean, I want to stay, first of all, in old Europe for many reasons. And then the second was also, I need to have even just the theoretical option from Berlin to go on a flight or take the train. I took the train so many times just to come back to Budapest. I can't do that from New York or
also
Philadelphia.
On the character of the person. I played a festival in Australia this summer,
Mm.
and I loved it to bits. I mean, it was incredible. But in my head, I thought like, whoa, never ever could I live so far from my family. Never ever. The possibility to talk to my family was at 9 in the evening, like 7:30 to 9 in the evening, and then we had concert, and then I was sleeping, and you know, so no. Nothing for myself.
What keeps you motivating for the next few months?
I finally will learn everything I didn't get the chance and time to learn.
Such as?
Such as the Elgar concerto, like Britten concerto, like
Nice.
second sonata, Schubert sonatas. I would also like to dig in a little bit into the modern composers like Widman or I don't know, Holliger, or like to see what's there. Yeah,
I can send you a violin piece from my grandfather if you really want to.
Please do. Why not? With pleasure. I would feel very privileged.
Well, I would feel privileged. Maybe not for your balcony concert, but...
Well, no, I played some Moldavian pieces. They loved it.
Yeah? Cool. Very good.
My violin is great. It's a big chance big luck to play on such beautiful instrument. I don't know how long I can keep it, but we'll see.
It's another relation.
Yeah, it's the most loyal and nice friend.
I agree.
Capricious, but nice.
Of course, otherwise it would be boring. Well, I'm very happy we talked.
Stay safe, okay?
Yes, you too.
Bisous.
Bisous.